This true story has been taken from my father's memoirs and is read by me as if I were him. When the trawler HMT Argonite was hit by a mine, another of HM trawlers went alongside of her, taking her in tow. But with the best efforts done to try and beach her, she failed, sinking off Harold Road. I'm forgetful of whether her crew were all saved or not, but it was in the afternoon. A green wreck buoy marked her position up until the 1960s. Ships that were steaming through the Downs and at anchor were then being struck by mines. Mines of a different sort though. These were British contact mines that had broken away from their moorings in the minefields. Sea mines were not a new weapon, having been around for more than 2 centuries in many different forms. During the First and Second World Wars, mines were used for protecting our shipping lanes and ports from enemy naval ships. The mine had a sinker attached to it and was dropped to the seabed by a mine layer. After a short time, the mine would automatically rise to the surface, its mooring wire reeling out to keep it attached to the sinker. The delay in release gave the mine layer enough time to clear the area, thus avoiding a strike by its own mine. These mines hung under the surface at a pre-regulated depth, controlled by a device called the hydrostat, which gripped the mooring wire once it reached its floating depth, also activating it at the same time. The mine contained 350 pounds of TNT, gun cotton, which took up to about half of its internal area, the rest being an air chamber. The outer surface of the mine held 5 or more brass horns, each containing a glass tube, which on contact with the ship would break and cause detonation. On the 29th of January 1940, the Dutch Coaster Nora was one victim of this type of mine. I used to be on the beach every morning, when on one morning in particular, half a dozen mines had been washed ashore, which I reported to the Coast Guard. I also salvaged hatchways, along with lots of other useful articles. It was around 7 a.m. I was looking out to sea when suddenly I saw a flash about Tugboat Stream out, directly off Farrier Street. It was very cold with snow showers obscuring the visibility intermittently. Freddie Upton at that time lived at number 3 Brewer Street, now renumbered number 9, with his mother. His boat, the Rosemarie and the Terrier, which was later renamed Star of the Sea, were berthed opposite the Star and Garter. I rushed down to Freddie's house and banged on the door. His mother opened it and said no more, only, "What was that explosion?" I said that a ship had struck a mine and I saw the flash just out by the Tugboat Stream, and I think she ought to give Freddie a call. Freddie came downstairs and asked what the problem was. This I explained to him. "Anyone about up there?" he asked me. "No," I replied. His mother made us a cup of tea, which we drank while discussing the situation. The weather wasn't very good. A southeast gale was blowing and heavy snow showers. "Do you reckon we can get a float, young'un?" Freddie asked me. "We can have a go," I replied. The engine in the Rosemarie was frozen up, so we made the Terrier ready. Whilst trying to start her engine, the starting handle came off and hit Freddie in the shin, so there was nothing we could do. Later that morning we did manage to thaw out the Rosemarie's engine, and with more help available managed to get afloat. The vessel was the Nora, and standing off from her was HM trawler. I can't remember her name. Aboard the trawler was the officer in charge of the Downs. He was waiting for orders from Dover before he could take the Nora in tow. Freddie asked if we could take over and beach her off 6 Green, running a kedge anchor away from her. Here she would be quite safe. The officer in charge had orders meanwhile to tow her to the south side of the pier, out of harm's way. "If you do that," said Freddie, "she'll drive down onto the pier with this southeast wind." Freddie Upton's advice was ignored, and the Nora was towed south of the pier, later to drag her anchor and become a total loss, taking part of the pier with her. During the early 1960s, my son David located the Nora's anchor and chain, which we salvaged. The receiver of wrecks tried to claim this, but we refused until the salvage price was agreed. This was set at £90, the anchor being collected by Everard Shipping of Rochester on a low loader. Some weeks later the payment was received. This was the sum of £20, which after much argument had to be taken. Where the rest went I never knew.